It's time to welcome our next guest who's joined us from Seattle, from Microsoft, from their accelerator, Raghav, Kher.
And thank you, Tampa, and my friend Suhas for inviting me here. And Suhas has been my mentor and friend since mid-80s, almost 35 years. Thank you. And thank you for the opportunity. So let me give, we are running late, so I'll cover it in 15 minutes. So my background is I worked for Microsoft from 91 to 98. I was first doing Windows 3.1 evangelism, getting ISVs to write on our platform. And our job was to beat OS2 from IBM. Hey, we are successful. We have been successful. And then I acquired Hotmail for Microsoft. Then 98, I got bored, and I wanted to become an entrepreneur, so I left Microsoft. 20 years, 6 startups, a lot of scars, a lot of interesting things happened. Several startups I sold successfully. One was LiveMocha, which is the language learning site, 16 million users. We sold it to Rosetta Stone. Another was Rendition Networks, which was more network configuration and compliance product. We sold it to Opsware. And Opsware, us and I conclude that whole combined company, HPI, acquired it for $1.6 billion. So I was in beer business too. We are the largest online seller of Cigar City. I had a warehouse in Tampa. We were shipping beers from here. So I've done lots of interesting businesses. And I rejoined Microsoft after, say, 20 years, about 6 months back. My wife said, either you start another startup or you do something else, don't sit at home. So I'm back at Microsoft because I love startups. That's my story. So I'm going to talk about Microsoft loves startups. We are not an accelerator anymore. So we have changed our programs. That's what I would like to talk about. So all of you know this, essentially you need the best team you can get because ideas will change. You have to pivot your company. Next one is your cash. Cash takes away risk because you need cash. Third one is technology. That's what Microsoft is great at. And lastly, you need customers. So those are the 4 things. And we do 3 things. Funding, we can give you technology, and we can give you customers. So Microsoft Ventures, funds Series A to Series C. They even now lead, or they can co-lead. And they're funding across the US, Canada, London, many places. If you look at their focus, AI, big data, cloud infrastructure, and computer vision, interesting things. Interesting things that will change the world. That's what we do. And we have 50 plus investments. The next program I'm going to talk about is, which I run, is Microsoft Scale-Up program. This program is targeted essentially at Series A startups that have at least $100,000 in revenue and are B2B. That's what our focus is. Essentially, we want to work with startups to deliver compelling solutions to our enterprise customers because we can't fill every gap. And so much innovation is happening. And that's what I love about my job because I learn from the CEOs. I get so excited. So much energy I get from the CEOs. And that's what I love about my job. And we are in now 8 cities across the world. So if you look at in North America, average funding is $12 million. I have about 100 plus portfolio, companies. Highest funding is $40 million. Average run rate is about $5 to $6 million. And highest run rate this year, one company will do $20 million. Those are the companies we work with. So how do we help them? There are essentially 4 parts to it. First, we get them on our cloud platform, which is Azure. We help them optimize their algorithms. In fact, we help them reduce cloud spend. We also help them reduce their cloud spend. After that, we have a marketplace where they list their products. And next comes where we add the value, most value. We help startups sell through Microsoft Sales Channel. First time in Microsoft history, salespeople's commission is based on consumption of your products running on Microsoft Cloud. So there is a clear incentive for them to carry you into your accounts. And I'll give you some examples where we have been very successful. This is a local Seattle company. They came to us when they are less than $1 million, essentially predictive health analytics. And they must be close to $10 million in run rate now. And once you figure out how Microsoft sales machinery works and you have one or two wins, and it takes off. This is how I always tell the startup CEOs. First of all, if you're committed, it'll take 3 months for you to get onto Azure and Marketplace ready, things you have to do. Next 9 months is our machine, and we believe, given the sales cycle is 6 to 9 months in the US, at least we'll get you few customers, and then you'll understand how the machinery works. Once you understand how the machinery works, you have few case studies, then it takes off. So this is another company, Wisdom AI. This is based out of Toronto. By the way, in Canada, the ecosystem is amazing. Montreal, Toronto, fantastic ecosystem. So this company essentially has an AI engine that provides customer care for telecoms. If you look at their CEO, he always tells me, it's not about AI. I'm just an amazing sales guy, and I'm a product guy. Dr. Dwivedi said, right, it's about products. And they have solved this, and they just focus on telecom. So Microsoft and Wisdom worked on a Rogers deal, for example. And they have 30 million users they're managing for Rogers today. Digital, essentially customer care. So when you go to Rogers' website and say, my cable modem is not working, 60% of the time, it's the correct answer will tell you what's wrong with your cable modem. This is based in Montreal, M. Nubo, and essentially they have predictive analytics for a variety of devices. They initially started with large HVAC systems, commercial HVAC systems. Now they have gone into many HVAC. Again, the predictive analytics for IoT is a big thing for Microsoft, so we work closely with them on this. And we've taken it to many, many companies because their solution is very good. It fits onto Azure. This is another company we love. This is based out of Ottawa. Essentially, you have the AI-based auditing. So they can read all the financial data and say where the risks are, where you're out of compliance. It could be, like, for example, Bank of England is using for fraud, money laundering. They can predict all that, and they can actually see. Bank of Canada, National Bank of Canada is using it for audit of branches, because they have 500 branches. It's very difficult to send people to every branch. The next thing we have is Reactors, where we have them in New York, Sydney, and several places, where you can go learn about our technologies. Or if you say, I wanted to run, let's say a session of entrepreneurism, we can give you a slot, essentially. The Reactor managers think they are doing programming. So as long as it adds value to the ecosystem, whether at the developer level or at the business level, you can have a space and you can run your programs. That's it. So I do have one request. Anybody while I'm in Tampa who has a Series A company that is making money at least $100,000 per month, and it's in B2B space, I would love to talk to them. Thank you.
Somebody has a couple questions, so if you'll hold this for a moment. You can stand down here. You don't have to go back up. But here, Suhas.
Raghav, you talked about this AI software for banks. Are you sending that over to Indian banks?
Sure, we'll send it everywhere. Sure. The,
I was there when the currency rig calculated, and somebody said, "Why don't you have any Indian money?" And I said, "You don't have any Indian money." Any other questions? Yes. Oh, here, let me get over there.
So my question is more on AWS and Microsoft for enterprise. I know I love operating system, Microsoft compared to others, but when it comes to enterprise software, like in most of the benchmarks, we see that Unix is faster and a lot of technologies, like I use all of them, AWS, GCP, and Azure. So a lot of things are available in GCP and especially in AWS and Amazon. For example, Mechanical Turk, stuff like that, and like something called as Mechanical Turk. Their equivalents do not exist in Microsoft. So do you still force your ventures to migrate to Azure, or what if something equivalent doesn't exist in Azure?
That's a very good question. The answer is very simple, actually. If our sales guys don't make commission off of your products, they're not going to take them to your account. So I can't even force them to do that, right? That's one. Second is, we believe it's a multi-cloud environment. When they move to Azure, we know they still run on AWS or Google, no? It's fine. You know, I was with the senior Bessemer partners. In fact, they have issued a memo to all the startups. You have to have a multi-cloud strategy because, you know, one cloud provider could raise prices, so you have to de-risk yourselves.
Yes, do you have any more accelerators planned in the near future, and how can we lobby for one to be in Tampa?
No, we don't have accelerator plans in the near future. We would love to work with accelerators.
Well, we've had the opportunity at, I don't know, are there any other MVPs in here besides Stan? Okay. So we've had the opportunity to be at some of the MVP Connects, and we've been, so if anybody wants to sign a petition, we'll take one, right? But we'll work on it. We've been trying to convince them that you're located on 75, and we're not far off 75. So anything else? Comment?
You know, I always keep asking questions.
Okay, so let's give a big round for our friend who's come in from Seattle.